You're live.
Greetings and welcome to another powerful edition of the Community Defender Talk Show, one powerful hour of truth, dispelling falsehood. I'm your host, Brother Daryl Muhammad, and we're very glad that you tuned in to tonight's program. And of course, tonight's program is going to be a continuation of our last program, which is what is our next move for Black Louisiana. Now, fortunately for me and fortunately for you, we have a wonderful guest on our program. We have Dr. Abdul Haleem Muhammad, who is the regional minister, the regional representative of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. He is a husband, a father, a preacher of truth. He is a grandfather. He is a black man in the home and in the community, practicing the righteousness that he preaches. And he, of course, is what I call a heavyweight in the struggle for the uplift of our people, hailing from Houston, Texas. I want to welcome with open arms and an open heart, Dr. Abdul Haleem Muhammad, a regional minister. Assalamu alaikum, brother minister.
Wa alaikum salam. Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. I can hear you very well.
Oh,
Hear you very well. So, as you know, Dr. Haleem, we have been going through some things in America with respect to the rolling back of what they call DEI, with respect to the losing of these black congressional and a host of other rollbacks. One person on our program said that we went back 40 years with the latest Supreme Court decision that pretty much eliminated any effectiveness of Section number 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And so we wanted to get your thoughts. We know that you're in touch with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. We know that you are plugged into that divine source. And incidentally, brother, I wanted to mention that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan turned 93 years old on this past Monday. 93 years old, and I understand that you were actually at that wonderful celebration when the Honorable Louis Farrakhan turned 93 years young. And so if you would elaborate on that, as well as other things going forward, we definitely would appreciate it, and we want to hear from you and the wisdom that you bring from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
Well, first of all, once again, Brother Daryl, thank you to you and the viewers in the 5 parishes there in Louisiana and those who are watching us online throughout the country and throughout the world. I want to thank those supporters, of course, the believers there in Louisiana, followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, for their prayers and their best wishes. And all of the supporters who have come out over the years, been over the region, as you have mentioned, brother, since 1994, and been coming in and out of Louisiana and Baton Rouge even before that. And he has so many people who admire him and love him, regardless of their faith tradition, whether it be the Catholic Church or the Protestant Church or some that have no religious affiliation at all. Mm-hmm. They wish the minister the best. And brother, it was quite a celebration. You don't want to name drop, but I'm going to name drop. I mean, the who's who of what was there. And when I say that, he had the likes of the Dave Chappelle, the Cat Williams, and then on the other end of the spectrum, you had Yolanda Adams and Donnie McClurkin. You had Tavis Smiley was there. You had Damon Dash and his family. There was Charlemagne the God was there. I mean, Janet Jackson. I can go on and on. Father Flagger. It was really a wonderful event. The food was delicious, and the minister spoke to us for about 2 hours, and he gave us a message. And overall, the message is this, brothers and sisters, is that everything that God created is divine. He created this universe. We are born into a book, Minister Farrakhan said, and that book is the universe that we've hardly scratched the surface of.
Wow.
And his wisdom to us, his guidance to us was that, you know, if everything that God has created in his universe is divine and we're in that universe, then we need to stop thinking less of ourselves.
That's right.
We too are divine. And he went on pretty much, and this was summarized basically 2 hours of talking, that each and every one of us has a gift from God, and that we must understand where the scriptures does say that, you know, I'm the Lord thy God, I'm a jealous God, that since he has created all, he's given us gifts, he's blessed us with the beneficence in his universe.
Wow.
How dare we worship anything but him? And so, you know, we have to understand that because we're divine and Satan has been given a period of time to rule, that we could not even interfere. As much as we wanted to interfere with his rulership, we couldn't, because God allowed him a certain amount of time. But his time is up. And this is why we're seeing such an upheaval. This is not a change of parties, brother. We have to, as a people, not think about change from Democrat to Republican, Republican to Democrat, because the truth of the matter is, brother, 120 years ago, we were all Republicans. Jesus or Muhammad could have ran as a Democrat back in the day, and we wasn't going to hear it because we were the party of Lincoln, the emancipator. I'm just saying, okay? So what we have to realize and recognize, brother, once again, is the fact that none of us is without sin. None of us. Minister Farrakhan said of himself, me too. And he said, what? Yeah. He said, me too. He said, you didn't think I'd drop down from heaven, did you? But the point that he wanted to make is that whether our sins are this small or mountain high, we need to just know that our God didn't come to destroy us. He came, as Jesus says, he came to save us from our sins, from the sins of Satan's blinding touch. And therefore, we need to just stop sinning. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to him, brother, he said, in that day, our righteousness will sustain us. Your righteousness will sustain us. And the first thing we got to do, we've got to get right with God. Now, what's the best religion? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to Minister Farrakhan. Asked him, he said, brother, what's the best religion? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan looked at him and said, well, he's been teaching me Islam all along. He said, Islam? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't answer. He didn't say yes. And he didn't say no. He said, the best religion is to do unto others as you will have them do unto you. And that's where we are right now, brother. That's the best religion. And we thank God, Almighty God, Allah, for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and for his 93 years of life. I know that last month, April, represents 50 years that I met Mr. Farrakhan as a 19-year-old sophomore student at Hampton University some 50 years ago. And next year will be, I would have been a student minister here in Houston for 40 years if God would spare my life till 2027. So thank you for asking, man. I did have a great time. I did get a chance to greet him and to touch him and for him to touch me. And I thank God that that man was used by God to intervene in my life so that I am a husband, I am a father, I am a grandfather. And in fact, he allowed me to go on back to school to achieve my PhD. It's not honorary. I earned it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we know that with your PhD, with all the buzz that's going on, we know that yours can be verified. So, we're in the era where we're checking PhDs instead of the stuff we need to be checking. We know with yours, we know we're good. But I wanted you if you would, because a lot of our people here in the state of Louisiana are really upset, and many of our people are very shocked at the swiftness with which Governor Jeff Landry, you know, started the election and began the redistricting process, eliminating now one majority black district already, and it's looking like we're going to be 5-1 instead of 4-2. A lot of people are very upset about it and surprised by it, maybe caught off guard by it. These kind of things don't catch you off guard because of the wisdom you are into it. So if you could elaborate on it for our people to help our people understand what happened and why.
You know, brother, it's not for me, even though I've been assigned the state of Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Arkansas, for me to really get down, because all politics, they say all politics is local, for me to get down and try to tell everybody in each parish what they should be doing. But I do say like this, as human beings, we should be very cautious who we give our heart to, who we give our trust to. We should trust God with all our heart. We should love him with all our heart. But you're only disappointed because you actually believe
Brother there's a
them. The Holy Quran says it like this, brother. Can you hear me? The Holy Quran says like this: the devil only promises to deceive.
Brother Director.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. We're hearing some lagging going on.
Okay, I hear something like scratching. Something.
Yes.
I don't know what that is. But the devil only promises to deceive. And you know what the Quran says, Brother Daryl, that on that day the devil will say, I made you a promise. God made you a promise with truth. And I made you a promise and failed you. And he said, blame me not. I had no authority over you except for I called and you obeyed me. So blame me not. So we had been told, or we should really step back for a moment. Don't name, shame, and blame one another. Don't say, well, you should have voted. This one should have voted. This group didn't vote. This group voted for Trump. All that. Stop. Brothers and sisters, in the 2024 election, 89 million eligible Americans did not vote. 89 million. If on the ballot with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, there would have been on the ballot, did not vote would have beat both of them. So let's stop beating up on each other. Because the truth of the matter is that we believe that these people really had our best interests at heart. And unfortunately, we don't have an unapologetically Black agenda. Let's call it like it is. Unfortunately, when we don't have an agenda, meaning for us, by us, and we try to coalesce with other people, we wind up being subsumed in their agenda and not our own. If I ask the callers or the people on this program, brother, to give me their top 5 or 10 things that we all agree on, in order, what's the priority? It would be as numerous as the people that called in. So some will have listened to me and say, oh man, what is he talking about? Another will say, he's right. So what you may have is a thesis and an antithesis. And what we have to do is we have to have a family meeting. Just like the Heritage Foundation had a family meeting and it came out with Project 2025. The labor unions have an unapologetically labor agenda. The insurance companies, oil and gas, the farmers, the teachers union, the police union, it doesn't matter who it is. Every one of those interest groups have an unapologetically fill in the blank agenda, but we don't. And because we don't, you said, well, if we allow anybody's rights to be violated, then everybody's rights get violated. So we say, okay, well, we're going to look out for the LGBTQ community. All right. Listen what I'm saying. But do you know that I know people in the LGBTQ community who say that they suffer racism in that formation? Why do we have to form the Black Longshoremen, the Black Teachers Union, the Black this, the Black that? Because in all of those formations, we find ourselves again being disrespected and disregarded. We got to have an agenda. Without an agenda, brothers and sisters, of our permanent interests. Bill Clay wrote a book, and the book was No Permanent Friends, No Permanent Enemies. This is in terms of politics, just permanent interests. What are our permanent interests? Now, you remember in Message to the Black Man, Brother Daryl, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote, page 173, put Muslim program to Congress, meaning the Muslim program, what the Muslims want, what the Muslims believe. Said, put that program to Congress. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said that the Civil Rights Act and integration will not stand, nor will it gain us independence, no matter who is president. And he told us to get behind his program, and if we would join him, we would enjoy luxury, money, good homes, and friendship in all walks of life. We got a movement that is all about one wing. We're like one wing. We're like a bird with one wing. Integration, assimilation, and then on the other wing, we had reparations, separation, and repatriation, right? We only flew with this one wing. In 1972, Gary, Indiana, there was a civil rights and Black Power movement meeting. It was a big convention. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke there, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, Jesse Jackson. The tree shakers and the jelly makers had came together at this conference. They put together a manifesto, which would have been the like in what I'm talking about, this black agenda, this black agenda. Those who had access to power and wound up being in the Congressional Black Caucus ignored that. There's a book written called, and you know me, brother, I'm always got a book for you. By Leonard Moore. It's called The Defeat of Black Power. And it chronicles what happened at that convention. So every time we try to come together, people come and interfere with us, and we give more credence and respect to those who come to interfere than us ourselves. It's not like we haven't tried. So we have, I'm over here looking for it again, brother. Remember the Million Man March, right?
Yes, sir.
So the Million Man March had a mission statement. What we needed to do, what the government needed to do, what we had to do in terms of the government, what had to be done in terms of corporations, and what we had to do as a community ourselves. It's a well-written mission statement. Someone said, well, we didn't have a political agenda. So we came back in the Million Family March, and we put together a national agenda from 2000 to 2008. The question is now, how come if I offer it, if Muhammad or Farrakhan offers it, you don't want nothing to do with it? Because there seemed to be no respect for other people's point of views. So that's why we can't come up with a synthesis to move forward. Let me say it like this again, Brother Daryl, and to our listening audience, please. We're in this condition because of our disunity. Now, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that 95% of our problems will be solved with unity. He said that our unity would be more powerful than an atomic bomb. And I'm not talking about you got to come and join the mosque. I don't have enough room in my mosque if everybody decided to join anyway. It's not about you joining the mosque. What it's about is us agreeing on what is our permanent interest. No permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. And if we would organize ourselves around truth, Mr. Farrakhan said the organizing principle is truth, actual facts. We need to reward our friends and we need to punish our enemies. And we do have enemies. And we have to make it plain, okay, I don't have to spend money with you. I don't have to act bad. I don't have to protest. I don't have to demonstrate. I don't have to do any of that. You know what? I'm just not going to spend my money with you. I'm just not going to give myself over to you.
Yeah, we have a call on the line.
Okay.
Sister producer,
Go ahead.
Okay.
want to take that call?
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll with it, brother.
Go ahead, caller.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
A fantastic program as always. Brother Muhammad, Brother Daryl, y'all just keep on doing the good work. I wanted to mention that in April the 19th of 1988, I was one that had wrote challenging the World Book Encyclopedia for not having Honorable Charles Drew in the encyclopedia, for not having notable Black men and women in the encyclopedia. And for almost a year, they wrote back saying it's not necessary to have a picture of Charles Drew, but yet you got a picture of Alfred Dufrakas, who was known as a notorious spy. You have a picture of a cake, but you don't have a picture of you don't have a picture of Malcolm X or a picture of Brother Farrakhan. And we went back and forth, back and forth. Now this was 38 years ago. And I say that to say that what you're talking about is right on point, particularly with this race. It's right on point. But I wanted to add one word, and it's called survivability. It's like when it comes down to this Juneteenth celebration, oh, y'all want to go ahead and butcher a whole hog. Y'all want to do this and that. Well, the foods that our ancestors ate back then, that was survival. That was survivability. They had no choice because the racist animals only let them have the scrap of the scrap of the scrap. And our mothers, grandparents, great grandparents, they took and they made the best of what they was given. And we have to teach that. We have to let them know that, okay, you got your boudin, you got your hog cracker, you got your hog tongue, you got cow tongue, hog head cheese, all of that. That's not a delicacy. It's called survivability. And that's exactly what you're talking about today, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, we've been given how to eat to live. And if we would look at the health disparities and we look at the medical industry, they make money from treatment plans, health insurance, prescription medicine, surgery, and devices. It's a business. We went away from a healing system to a sickness system. And you can talk to many in medical school and they'll tell you that they don't teach them nutrition. See, your kitchen, dear sister, dear brother, your kitchen is your medicine cabinet. So teaches Master Father Muhammad through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We are what we eat. Now, I can't force you to change your diet, but isn't it something that when you get sick and you get older and they've given you a pill for a pill for a pill, and then give you a pill to stop taking pills, that all of a sudden now the doctor tell you have to cut down on your sodium, cut down on your meat consumption, cut down on your liquor, cut down on they tell you all the things, and then we try to get right later in life when we could have prevented all the ailments that we have if we would just eat right, exercise, and think right. So thank you, sister. You're absolutely right. It is about our survivability, because if we're not healthy in our body and in our minds, then how can we be soldiers for the Lord to do the Lord's work and fight the good fight?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And incidentally, I believe it's the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the only leader, and then the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, that actually deals with diet. In most other groups of our people, you can pretty much eat what you want. Nobody is concerned enough about what you store in your homes. Nobody is concerned enough about health and diet to really mention it or deal with it. And that's one of the hallmarks of the Nation of Islam, is that its members have to eat a certain way. There are certain things that we can't consume, and we advocate our people to consume the best of foods if possible. And of course, now agriculture is becoming a focus of ours, as it has been, but more of a focus of ours in these days. Yes, sir. But go.
Again, you go after the black, unapologetically black agenda. You know, I love to hear my brother Gary Chambers there in Louisiana kind of pick up this mantle and apply it specifically to Louisiana. That's a brilliant brother. I admire him. But I'm in Texas, and we got more black farmers and ranchers in Texas than any other state in the union, and more black people in Texas than any other state in the union. My question is, how is it that we got more black farmers and food producers in the state of Texas, and yet there's food insecurity in our community and those black farmers losing their land? I don't understand, except we're not organized.
Brother
to
Daryl, we have
control
another
the logistical supply chain from the field to the mill. We
Brother
have
Daryl, we have another phone call.
Yes, sir. I heard you.
We have another phone call.
We have warehouses. We have retail outlets. What I'm not understanding is us not unifying ourselves and putting together a strategic plan, which is a 3 to 5 year plan, a tactical plan, which is a 1 year or less plan, and operational plan is what do we do daily, weekly, and monthly to fulfill the tactical and the strategic plan. It's not.
Brother Daryl, we got a phone call. You want to take that phone call?
Okay. Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and take the phone call.
Yeah. Great topic again. What we do next. I'm glad you brought that back, Brother Daryl. But I don't know if you heard of the great Marcus Garvey, who told us what we should have done in the 1920s about self-governing ourselves. And I heard you say about we are under attack with these white programs like DEI and the congressional redistricting. This has all been done to us for us being gullible people. How can we expect the people who enslave us to free us? And we keep on following the program because they send these black faces and put them in high places that disturbs ourselves, that hurts us all the time with our so-called hope and belief, not knowing we got to start doing our own redemption, redeeming our thoughts, redeeming our rights, not letting them tell us what we can and cannot do. And all these organizations, when y'all say about unity, is because they got this pick-me program. They want to be in charge of everything. It's like we can't sit down and talk with each other like human beings. You know, if these white people who are the minority wouldn't get together and organize and mobilize against us, we wouldn't be where we are today, because they are the minority. We are the majority black people, but we can't come together because we are so afraid to be by ourselves, not knowing these white folks need us more than we need them. And until we wake up, we're going to keep being under them. So what they did in Louisiana with the redistricting was the Negro wake-up call again. And we got to stop. We got the smartest so-called black indoctrinated people, so say politicians, who are compromising to whatever these white folks makes them take. Reparation. We shouldn't be voting until they pay what they have done to us. And we keep on falling for the same old trap. We got to wake up, black folks. And I'm glad you two guys got an independent mind of thinking and telling black people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, what they need to hear. We got to come together as us, not under no white administration or no government administration. We are the only ones who can save us. We are the smartest people on the planet, following dummies. And we keep on letting them disrespect us. So how you expect our children to respect us if we playing in a game that we're not even a part of? They just use us. So keep talking what y'all talking, but don't be apologetic for the truth. Because these white folks are fighting with each other now, and black folk, get y'all some popcorn and enjoy the show. It's not about a party. It's about us as black people getting with each other to enjoy our lives. Thank y'all. Have a nice night.
Thank you, sir.
I'm
Go ahead,
glad
brother.
brother is saying we don't need to operate under the illusion of inclusion. I'm not saying that desegregation was wrong. It was right according to their law, Brother Daryl. You studied the 14th Amendment. We're supposed to have equal protection under the law, under their law. That's what they said. Now they're even reviewing the 14th Amendment. They already gutted the Voting Rights Act. They're not enforcing the Civil Rights Act. How many of those police departments, when we were protesting, Black Lives Matter protesting, police department would put under consent decrees? You know, point number 6 of what the Muslims believe, what the Muslims want, is that we wanted an end to police brutality and mob attacks. And we wanted the federal government to intervene in white courts, right? To protect us, in other words, the federal government, right? So they put these consent decrees, and what does this current administration does? It releases those police departments from those consent decrees. So they're not enforcing the Civil Rights Act, right? They're not enforcing the Voters' Rights Act. And the HUD secretary is not enforcing the Fair Housing Act that was passed in 1968. So 1964, 65, 68, all those things that we thought we had achieved in the so-called second Reconstruction is now been destroyed. So the question is now, where do we go from here? Community or chaos, Dr. King asked. See? So we're at the point now, beloved, where we got to stop romanticizing Dr. King, meaning that when we listen to that mountaintop speech, listen to the entire speech, not just the end, his crescendo. Listen to what he said. He talked about boycotting Coca-Cola, Wonder Bread, and Heart's Bread. He talked about a bank-in program. He talked about an insurance-in program. He talked about spending money among ourselves and redistributing the pain from those who disrespect us. He said, we're not have to be ugly. We're not have to do anything. We're not have to burn down anything, protest. Because, brothers and sisters, look, we're being set up. We're being set up, beloved. You don't see what's happening. You think that these detention centers are for migrants only? You need to think. Because if we're angry about our voting rights being upset, our civil rights being violated, and our housing rights being violated, and we're being pushed out of government contracts, we're being pushed out of opportunities, and then gas prices going up, food prices going up, we're being mistreated and mishandled, some of us are going to snap. And when we do, when we demonstrate, if we do any civil disobedience, then he's going to call the Insurrection Act. Don't you know we already had a dry run in Los Angeles? Didn't you see? He brought in the Marines. He brought in the National Guard. He federalized the National Guard against the governor's will. Don't you know the Insurrection Act has only been, since its founding, has only been 30 times? And last time was during the Civil Rights Movement time, the 50s and the 60s. And he did a dry run in Washington, D.C., and did a dry run in Minneapolis using ICE, his private police force. Brothers and sisters, those warehouses, those detention centers, they got some $34 billion alone to purchase and to build and operate those facilities. And trust me, brothers and sisters, like if you were to open up a hotel, you're not going to open up a hotel if you don't expect occupancy. So we have to move very wisely. At some point in time, we just got to pull in and have a family meeting. You may not like Muslims. You may not like the Nation of Islam. It's not about liking it. It's about that we have something to offer you. Now, remember, Brother Daryl, the 20th anniversary of the Million Men March, the theme was 10-10-15 was justice or else. The reason why they don't respect us is because we don't have an or else. We just crying for justice, jobs and justice. That's all we've been ever marching for, jobs and justice. And so now what is the or else? The or else is God's judgment now. If you really want to know, watch the weather. God answers with the forces of nature. And we're due because of the mistreatment of God's people. And brother was right about Brother Garvey. We've had great leaders that have come in the past And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we call him the divine reminder because he's reminding us of every one of our great teachers that come along. If you remember that Savior's Day we had in Detroit, he had the pantheon of all of our Black leaders and the banners behind him, all of them, from all the spectrums, from the civil rights to the Black nationalist groups. We believe in utilizing all of the great minds that come, because in the end, all of them at the end of their lives, you can see how there was congruency. You talk about Malcolm and Martin were coming together. Well, Martin had met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in February 1966 and sat with him for hours. The FBI taped it. They know what they talked about. And there was a newspaper article that came out and said King and the Muslims agreed on cleaning up the slum. So let's be wise, brother and sister, and understand. You know, you talk. Garvey was in the beginning of the century. Nobody had matched or came close to what Garvey did, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and no other organization has ever come back, movement has ever come back from being destroyed, but the Nation of Islam. And I love Jesus, and he raised Lazarus from the dead, but Minister Farrakhan raised a nation from the dead. And myself and Brother Daryl are proof. And what man do you know that could call for 1 million men, Black men, and nearly 2 million showed up without a fight, without an arrest, and the mall was cleaner when we left than when we got there? That takes great power. It wasn't Farrakhan, it was God through Farrakhan that called those men. 85% of those men that came to that 1 million man march were Christian. And so I'm saying to us, brothers and sisters, we've done it once, we've done it twice, we can do it again. And we need to really, again, say to ourselves, we're not to turn on each other, but turn to each other and say, look, man, we have work to do. This is about our survival. But it requires that we take up the best religion, which is to do unto others as we have them do unto you. That's not called Islam. That's not called Christianity. That's not called being a Hebrew. That's not called traditional African. It's just common sense. I need to want for you what I want for myself. And when we do that, brothers and sisters, the love that we have between us, it is the most powerful creative force. Remember the sister got on there, Brother Daryl, he talked about how they gave us hog guts and hog it, and we made it a delicacy, right? How we took the scraps that they threw away and we made it. What people stand in line, man. Soul food restaurants, they stand in line. They made a delicacy. That shows you our creativity. We know how to take something because all we had was nothing. We took nothing and turned it into something, because that is what love is. Love is freedom, justice, equality, and obedience to God. We have never broken faith with God, no matter what we've gone through. And I suspect, and I'm willing to put on the line, if I was a gambling man, which I'm not, but if I was, brother, I'd put my money on Black all day long. Why? I go to the casino, put my money on Black. You want to know why, brother? Because I don't believe any of them could have survived the transatlantic slave trade. I don't believe that they could have survived 310 years of chattel slavery. I don't think that they could have survived Jim Crow. And I don't think they could survive Reaganomics and trickle-down economics. They couldn't have survived it. We survived the Tuskegee experiments. We survived Henrietta Lacks cells being taken and curing diseases and the family finally getting some justice. We survived our women being operated on, and the obstetrician or the OGBYN doctor that's got a statue up to himself, he was operating on our sisters without anesthesia.
Experimenting
Everybody,
on
every ethnic group that's ever come to this country, everybody that got human and civil rights got it on our backs. The 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, everybody that has advanced in this country, immigrant or not, has done it on the basis of our suffering. This country is a country because it was at our expense that the Constitutional Convention didn't break up. They were going to break up over representation. How were they going to put together? So they come up with a bicameral legislature, a Senate and a House of Representatives. And because there were less free white males in the South than it was in the North, they had to find a way to equalize it out. So what they determined was to count us as 3/5 of a person. We were always nothing. Don't talk about we were 3/5 of a human being. We were nothing in their eyes, zero. But it gave white men, they made them 1 3/5 of a vote more. And that's why maybe the first 10 of your 12 presidents were from the South. The Electoral College was set up, brothers and sisters, to keep things as they are right now. You got 2 senators. You got a senator in Rhode Island and a senator in Montana. They ain't got but 3 people and maybe a moose out there. But he's got as much stroke in the Senate as anybody from, say, Texas or from New York with a greater population. They set it up like that. They set it up. The second compromise at our expense was the importation of slaves for another 20 years. So everything that was done at the Constitutional Convention was done at our expense. Some argue that it was a constitution against slavery. Some argue was a continuation of slavery. Well, I'm gonna put it like that right now, brother and sister. Where are we now? Where are we? I'm not saying it's hopeless. I'm saying that we have to now organize ourselves. We're not outnumbered. As brother was telling you, as Garvey pointed out, see, there's a poem. I can't recite it right now, but it's kind of, I'm going to summarize it. Now that they've decided to draw a circle to keep us out, let's draw a bigger circle to keep them in. Remember, Brother Daryl, our student enrollment are the rules of Islam, right? What is the population of the original nation in wilderness North America and all over the planet Earth? What is the population of the colored people in the wilderness North America and all over the planet Earth? And when we look at it, brother, at that time, it was 17 million with the 2 million Indians, but all over the planet Earth was 4,400,000,000. There never been 4,400,000,000 people in Africa. So who are this original nation? Then we looked at them, and it was 103 million in North America, and all of the planet Earth was 400 million. So if you take the 4,400,000,000 and you divide it into the 400 million, we outnumber them 11-1. And we're seeing now the global South is waking up. We're seeing all the West and the former colonies and the colonizers being rejected. We're seeing a change in the young people in terms of looking at how they look at America and his relationship with Israel. We're seeing in the Sahel these young leaders getting up and kicking the French out and others and taking charge of all of their minerals and materials. We're seeing movements in Africa where people are starting to stand up and say, wait a minute. And as this war continues overseas, beloved, we're not talking about a change in political parties. We're talking about a change in worlds. He says, behold, he makes all things new. There's going to be a new heaven and a new earth, and the former things will pass away. What do you think that means? That doesn't mean that we're going to go from being Democrats to Republicans or from Republicans to Democrats. No. A new heaven means a new spiritual system. A new earth means a new political system. That's what it means, brother and sister. And don't tell me you fighting for democracy. Well, no, you can't fight with it. America never was a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. There's a difference. You have to know that these people know what they set up. It was flawed from the beginning. That's why it has an amendment process. They knew it was flawed from the beginning. They knew it was a compromise. How many of us, oh man, America, you've been so dumbed down. Our educational system has dumbed us down. You don't go into the Constitution. You didn't go into the Continental Congress and see what was going on before the Declaration of Independence. You don't know anything about the Articles of Association. Then the Boston Massacre and all those things took place. And then they made a Declaration of Independence and they fought a war. And then they came up with the Articles of Confederation, and they were not workable because you had to have a unanimous vote in order to raise taxes and do other things. So then they had this Constitutional Convention, May 25th, 1787 through September 17th, 1787. And they came out with this new document. And the ones that came there with an agenda was Alexander Hamilton and James Madison. And that's why they call it Madisonian democracy, because he had an idea of what they were going to do. And then they had to go through a ratification process. And you should read what is said in those ratification conventions, what they agreed to or not. And that's why the Bill of Rights really was 12 amendments that they forwarded. 10 of them got passed, and that's why you call them the Bill of Rights. If you really understood the original draft of the Declaration of Independence and what Thomas Jefferson actually wrote, but they made him change it because there were slave owners that was being insulted by what he was talking about, the King of England going and taking the people that did him no harm and kidnapping them and bringing them over. Oh, man, look here. He really had a problem because he owned slaves, but at the same time, he wrote, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. But yet he had slaves. He had Sally Heming and others. And it's very interesting, beloved, that you and I don't really realize, man, that we didn't really have any rights whatsoever until we had a 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And that's what the basis of the Civil Rights Act and the basis of the Voting Rights Act is based upon those 14th and 15th Amendment. And now they've gutted the Voters' Rights Act, and they're even looking at the 14th Amendment and changing that. So now what are we going to do, brother and sister? Today, we have this technology that right now we can talk to the whole world. And so we need to understand that though they drew this circle in America to keep us out, we can draw a bigger global circle to keep them in. The state of Israel is going to spend nearly $1 billion to try to change the attitudes of the American people. But you can't unring that bell. We've seen what happened to the Palestinians for these last 2 years. And you know what? What you see over there is planned for us over here. We know that the Anti-Defamation League set up systems where our law enforcement here is trained by the IDF and the Mossad there. The tactics that are being used against us is the same tactics you're using against them. We already know. But what are we going to do? We have to organize ourselves. We have to prevent our brothers and sisters from, first of all, getting involved in the criminal justice system. But if they are, then we've got to go in and reform them in the prison system so that when the OGs come out, they can be reintegrated into the society in our community so that they don't go back to prison. There's so much that we have to do. We get nearly $2 trillion out this economy. But look how we spend our money. Drugs, alcohol, gambling, tobacco. If we would just sacrifice for the greater good, for our children's sake, for our grandchildren's sake, we don't seem to understand that we're at war. And when you're at war, you have to make sacrifices. The question is, what is the or else, y'all? What are we going to do? I can tell you what's next. Next is an unapologetically Black agenda to sit down and have that family meeting. I've been calling for that long before Roland Martin or any of them. I've been saying that over and over again. I'm not giving myself to no one political party. Why? Because if all of the brothers and sisters that were eligible to register to vote but didn't vote decided they were going to get registered to vote, and we had an agenda, and we looked at Dr. Bill Cassidy or those people running against them, and we said to ourselves, according to our agenda, which one of these is best for our agenda? Now, there's some of us that's going to be yellow dog Democrats. I don't care what you say. They're going to be yellow dog Democrats, right, Brother Daryl? They're going to be yellow dog. Okay, you stay over there. But there's some of us who are independent that may say, you know what? According to my agenda, one of these three is in my best interest. Or they're not the worst, because we've been voting for the lesser two evils all along. You know something? If we went over into another party's primary system and disrupted it by voting for this one and that one, they would say, you know something? We need to pay attention to them people. What is it again you wanted on your agenda? See, but as long as you give yourself all to one party, fidelity to one party, and you're not willing to move according to a principle, truth, regardless of where it falls, truth. If we're not willing to fall in that truth, then brothers and sisters, don't expect to be respected by these people. Well, people that won't treat you right ain't going to teach you right. And the people that won't teach you right ain't going to treat you right. We've already been shown what they think of us. It's not hate. This is not hate. This is not hate. There are some people other than the black community that do have our best interests at heart. But we have to now have our own best interests at heart. And love ye one another even as the master has loved us. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has gone into the black church. He's talked to every stripe of black political professional groups, black lawyers, black dentists, black nurses, you name it. He's spoken at all the college campuses. He has done his work. And now it's up to us, because there's going to be no more singular charismatic leaders. Farrakhan is an anomaly. There's not going to be another one like him. Stop looking for that. He has given us a study guide system called Self-Improvement, the basis for community development. He has shared his personal struggle with us so that we can learn to self-examine, do self-analysis, self-correction, and to resurrect within ourselves the self-accusing spirit, so you don't need anybody standing over you telling you what to do. Clean yourself up, brother and sister. As Honorable Abdul Muhammad said, clean up or you're out of luck with us. Clean up. If we clean up, there's a voice in your head that will tell you what's right and wrong. If you get past yourself, get our own feet out the way, you would listen to what I'm saying. You say, I don't care whether that man's a Muslim, Christian, he black, I don't care what he's saying. If he's speaking the truth, why don't we be like the wino, Brother Daryl? The wino got better sense than us. The wino don't care what's the label on the bottle. He just want to know, is there some wine in there? If it's truth, it's truth, brother and sister, no matter what. So I want us to, 1, let's get organized. 2, let's formulate a black agenda. 3, let's put together a strategic plan, a tactical plan, and an operational plan. It all starts with a vision. Without a vision, the people perish. But without the right people, a vision can perish. And a vision without a plan is a hallucination. So let's get the vision. Let's get the mission. For us, Brother Daryl, it's the resurrection of the dead, the mentally and spiritually dead, right? The mission ties to what? The strategic plan, the tactical plan, the operational plan. And we got to get on our grind every day if we intend to be free, justified, and equal with all mankind. I can't hear you.
Brother Director, we got about 2 minutes left.
We do.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, brother.
About 2 minutes. Well, it's fine. Well, look, we definitely appreciate you stopping by the Community Defender. The only issue I have right now is that you have not appeared more often, because I think this has been a wisdom-filled show. I think that coming from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, like everybody who was there, you're very full and you have a lot to share, and which means that we're going to have you back, okay? and to share with us more of the program of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that our people may be comforted by the truth you speak, and that we may be willing to do as you have instructed, which is to sacrifice for the greater good. I want to, of course, thank our regional. Go ahead.
They should go on, brother, NOI.org, or they can go on finalcallradio.org, and they can listen, learn, study the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then you will know what I'm talking about, and then forward it to me and to us what it is that you believe and what you believe the Black agenda should be. And let us put together that synthesis, brother. Subscribe to the Final Call newspaper, finalcall.com digital. Go ahead and subscribe to the Final Call newspaper. Support Black programming and Black institutions, brothers and sisters. Spend money with your brother before the other, and let us begin that process of freeing ourselves by uniting one with another. And I want to thank my brother, Brother Jay, for his wonderful technical skills here on the community defense.
That's right. And look, it wouldn't be possible without our brother. And again, I want to thank you for your time. I know you have a busy schedule, but we hope in the future to be able to take up more of your time and have you back as a guest. All right. So
Thank you,
I
brother.
want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Community Defender as we sign off. May God continue to bless you and all of your families. We'll be right back at you with another edition of the Community Defender Talk Show.